Hi, and welcome to MBF5 Sudbury Cecil Youth Center Site-Specific Orientation. Criminal Record Check. Prior to commencing this orientation, all workers must provide proof that a criminal record check has been completed and approval received to work on the prison project. Have you completed the CRC and have been granted approval? If you have not, then please stop this orientation and notify the site superintendent, safety officer, and your supervisor immediately. In the spirit of respect and truth, we honor and acknowledge where we reside and are a guest on the unceded and ancestral territories where many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit have resided for centuries. Today we are in Sudbury, which is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Anishinaabe territory. Sudbury is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We would like to express our gratitude and respect, as well as pledge to advance reconciliation by partnering with Indigenous peoples in all our work. Project information: the province of Ontario will add 150 beds to 3 jails using modular construction, expanding the Niagara Detention Centre in Thorold, the Cecil Youth Centre in Sudbury, and the Vanier Centre for Women in Milton. Bird Construction, Inc. has been awarded the contract to design and build the innovative modular expansions, with construction scheduled to begin in 2026. In addition to new beds, the expanded facilities will offer enhanced rehabilitation programs, including literacy, job skills, and technology training. This will cost the province more than $180 million. Quote, Ontario is modernizing its procurement process and using innovative construction methods to help speed up the delivery of essential infrastructure, unquote, said King Surma, Minister of Infrastructure. Quote, by expanding correctional facilities in Thorold, Sudbury, Milton, our government is enhancing the safety capacity and sustainability of the province's correctional system, end quote. The correctional center houses sentenced offenders who are typically serving periods of incarceration from 60 days to a maximum of 2 years less a day. Offenders serving their sentence in correctional centers are eligible for education, counseling, and work experience programs. Please be aware that while you are working on this project, the individuals being held will be visible during yard times. Always be respectful in your actions and vocabulary, and do not entertain any of their comments or attempts to gain your attention. The general site layout and emergency response. The logistics plan for MBF5 Sudbury Detention Center is located on the right side, will be the trailers. The center will be the overall proposed facilities with 2 or 3 gates for entrances. The logistics plan for the MBF5 Sudbury Detention Center parking, we have spots for 86 vehicles. Emergency muster procedure, the alarm will be one continuous blast of an air horn and an on-call on the radio. Proceed to the closest muster point, and that will be located near the trailer compound. The closest hospital to the site will be the Health Science Centres North, the hospital in Greater Sudbury, Ontario, 41 Ramsey Lake Road, Greater Sudbury, and copies of the map will be posted on the site safety board. The emergency muster procedure. If you are required to meet the emergency response team, you will go to the designated emergency meeting point to meet and escort the ERT to the location of the incident. The ERT meeting point will be the construction access gate 1. Remember, this is not the muster point, only the point where we meet the emergency response team to bring them to site for the injured person or persons. The emergency contact number, 416-906-7195, and that will be the site superintendent. The emergency response plan is reviewed by workers with signatures that they have read and understood the plan and posted on the site safety board. It is reviewed annually, modified on a as-needed basis throughout the year. Assess the situation, stop and observe before rushing in. First aid kits, AED eye wash stations, naloxone kits, trauma bag, stretcher, air horns, and fire extinguishers will be located at the bird site trailer. Emergency supply locations. Air horns located at muster points and in fire extinguisher stands throughout the site. Fire extinguishers will be in the stands as well as in all site trailers and machinery. First aid kit, eye wash station, AED, stretcher, naloxone kit, trauma bag will be in the bird site trailer. The different types of extinguishers, water and foam, are crucial in dealing with Class A, fires only. Carbon dioxide removes the oxygen and heat elements from the chemical reaction with the cold discharge of carbon dioxide. Dry chemical, A, B, C are the most common as they are the most versatile and they come in two varieties. Multi-purpose dry are effective on Class A, B, and C fires, and ordinary dry are to be used with Class B and C fires only. 20-pound ABC extinguishers are the most common extinguishers on bird sites. These are the site contact numbers for the project. Copies will be posted on the site safety board in case anyone needs any. On-site first aiders. The list of first aiders will be posted on the site safety board. Get to know who is a first aider from your crew as a precaution for any incidents. And most of bird management will be trained in first aid and their training records will be on file. Site access requirement for MBF5 Sudbury site-specific orientation. The minimum MBF5 site orientation, bird corporate orientation video, security clearance by RCMP, current working at heights, current WMIS 2015, worker awareness 4 or 5 step, and any additional tickets required for task-specific operations, confined space, entry, monitor, fall protection, AWPs, etc. Employees new to the industry will be entered into the mentoring program, and all tickets must be provided prior to or at the time of orientation. Site behavioral rules. These signs will be posted in and around the site, so please ensure that you follow them and ensure compliance. Responsibilities, incident reporting, and A&D testing. Role of the employer, responsible for ensuring the health and safety of their employees, responsible for providing safety materials, equipment, devices, and clothing to employees and ensure they're familiar with and use them, required to post the code, their general health and safety policy, and other printed materials as directed from the MLITSD. Role of the supervisor, responsible for ensuring that workers are in compliance with the OHSA and regulations, make sure that workers use any equipment, protective devices, or clothing the employer requires, tell workers about any workplace health and safety hazards that the supervisor is aware of, give workers written instructions on measures and procedures to be followed for their own protection if prescribed by regulation, and take every precaution reasonable in the circumstances to protect workers. Role of the workers. A worker shall work in compliance with the provisions of this Act and the regulations, use or wear the equipment, protective devices, or clothing that the worker's employer requires to be used or worn. Report to his or her employer or supervisor the absence of or defect in any equipment or protective device of which the worker is aware of and which may endanger himself, herself, or another worker, and report to his or her employer or supervisor any contravention of this Act or the regulations or the existence of any hazard of which he or she knows. Incidents and reporting. As was reported in the bird orientation video, all incidents and near misses must be reported immediately. When an incident occurs, specifically if it's a critical, freeze the scene. If it's not dangerous to life or health, do not move anything. Secure the scene as is and flag off or barricade the area. Report the incident to your supervisor. A bird supervisor and Bird HSE must be notified immediately and prior to anyone visiting ISOS. All incidents shall be investigated to determine the cause, what went wrong, and how do we improve. The investigation is fact-finding and not fault-finding. A and D, alcohol and drug testing will be required as per the Canadian model if there are grounds. Some on-site hazards, falls from heights, slips and trips, struck by incidents, caught in between hazards, electrocution, moving objects and heavy equipment, harassment from the individuals being held, noise and vibration, biological and chemical hazards, working near the detention center, speed limits, no videos or pictures to be put on social media. PPE requirements. Minimum PPE, CSA hard hat, Class E Type 2 with 4-point chin strap, CSA approved safety glasses with side shields, CSA approved safety boots minimum 6 inches, appropriate gloves for the task, long sleeves and pants, Class 2 Division 2 reflective vest, and additional PPE to be used as required by task or JHA. Site-specific requirements. Site logistics. Signing in and out must be completed at the start and end of your shift. Required for ERP musters and record keeping, a requirement for all workers and visitors on site. Hours and work breaks. Shift starts 0700 to 1600. Ask your supervisor. 3 breaks. Restricted access. Pay attention to road signs. Never enter an area that requires authorization and or is marked do not enter. If you're unsure, please ask. FLHAs. FLHAs are to be completed daily before work begins, updated and time-stamped throughout the day as tasks and or conditions change. A supervisor is to review and sign off FLHAs prior to work commencing, and FLHAs are to be handed in to your supervisor at shift end. Bird uses the energy wheel for hazard recognitions, just because it expands your knowledge of all the different hazards that could occur depending on your work task. If you do not have, or your company does not have FLHAs, you can use Bird. Congestion. Our work areas may become congested, have multiple different trades in the area, heavy equipment and various activities happening at once. It is important to communicate with others when you enter your work area or share a work area with. Review and cross-sign each other's FLHAs. Work permits. Bird permits are required for the following: confined space work, critical lift tasks, ground disturbance work, hot work, welding, grinding, propane use, soldering, etc. Access egress permits, exiting man baskets at heights. These documents are accessible from Bird HSE department. These permits may require additional safe work practices or JHAs, additional planning and specific requirements. Smoking, vaping will only be allowed in designated areas and will have clear visible signage to let everyone know where they can smoke. Dispose of all cigarette butts in the proper container and ensure they are extinguished before doing so. No need for any fires. Smoking/vaping is prohibited in all Bird-owned or leased vehicles, office trailers, lunchrooms, change rooms, storage containers, washrooms, basically any enclosed areas. Reporting to work fit for duty is everyone's personal responsibility to ensure the safety of yourself and others. Just because it is legal to smoke marijuana doesn't mean you can smoke it at work. What other factors can influence our physical state? Genetics, lifestyle choices, environmental exposures, mental well-being. When arriving to work, it is your responsibility to ensure you are fit to complete your task as well as your drive in. If you are unwell, then be sure to inform your supervisor of your reason why you did not show up to work or why you are leaving. Cell phone policy. The use of cell phones while driving is prohibited. Disciplinary action includes an immediate removal from site pending investigation and will likely result in a site ban. Only supervision with authorization are permitted to have a cell phone in the field. Cameras are not permitted unless you have received authorization from the site superintendent. And under no circumstances are you permitted to take photos and post on any social media sites. and only work-related photos will be allowed. Seatbelt policy. Any equipment that has a seatbelt in it means that the seatbelt must be utilized. It's the law as well as site policy. Non-compliance will result in immediate removal from site, pending investigation, and could ultimately result in a site ban. Allow the vehicle to come to a complete stop before unbuckling. Environmental waste segregation. All waste materials must be placed in the appropriate disposal bin. All bins on site are labeled non-hazardous, clean wood, painted wood, construction waste, food waste, ferrous metals, non-ferrous metals, and typical hazardous waste, used oil, oil filters and containers, oily rags and towels, grease tubes, hydraulic hoses, aerosol cans, adhesive waste, paint waste, batteries, used coolant, dirty, contaminated fuel, so on and so forth. Typical hazardous waste must be disposed of appropriately. Environmental spills and prevention. Most bird spill kits will be in the site compound. Report all spills to your supervisor and bird management. Secure the area, contain the spill, stop the source if safe to do so. Place drip trays, impervious tarps, or other forms of secondary containment underneath equipment. Drain as required into suitable containers. WMIS 2015, employers are responsible to educate and train the workers, ensure the hazardous products are properly labeled, prepare workplace labels and SDS, and ensure appropriate control measures are in place. Workers will continue to participate in WMIS, take necessary steps to protect themselves, and participate in identifying and controlling hazards. A workplace label is required when a hazardous product is produced or made at the workplace and used in that workplace, a hazardous product is transferred into another container, or a supplier label becomes lost or illegible. What information is on the workplace label? The product identifier, safe handling information, and a reference to the safety data sheet. Violation and warning process, just as stated in the orientation video. In most cases, it's a 4-step process. And birds for safety absolutes, just like it said in the orientation video, the most dangerous, fall protection, confined space, energy isolation, excavations, and trenching. The violation of these 4 absolutes is 0 tolerance and is subject to disciplinary action or dismissal. And the worker's basic right. Every worker has a right to work in a safe and healthy environment. All employees are encouraged to familiarize themselves with the Bird HSE manual, as it complements the 3 basic rights of all workers under legislation: the right to know about actual and potential dangers in your workplace, the right to participate in workplace health and safety activities, and the right to refuse work you believe to be dangerous to yourself or your co-workers. It's not only your right, it's also your legal obligation. Bird security and site monitoring. Bird management will monitor access to the site and will require the trade to visit the site office to sign their team in at the start of the shift and out at the end. All tools and equipment will be locked at night and the keys will be placed in a secure place. Theft will not be tolerated and will lead to immediate dismissal from all bird sites. Please report any suspicious or unauthorized activity to your immediate supervisor and to Bird, and all borrowed tools and materials must be returned before the end of your shift. Visitors in short duration. They must also report to the site office and sign in and complete the required documentation. Visitors must always be escorted by someone who has completed the site-specific orientation training successfully, and they cannot conduct any work activities. And short duration workers must complete a SDW orientation successfully, and although they are permitted to conduct work activities, they cannot be critical or high risk in nature. Short duration workers are defined as those working on site for 1 day or less. Barricades, tags, and warning signs. Barricade tags and warning signs are used to protect others from the hazards associated with our work. So establish a safe area, use the appropriate color, do the 360 rule, and ensure that it is enclosed 360 degrees. Tag it so that if it is in red, The supervisor can be clearly identified and described. And then, is the tag accurate and complete? Is the color right for the hazards identified? And then when done, please remove them accordingly. Why are JHSCs so important? They assist in providing greater protection against workplace illnesses and deaths, involves representatives from workers and employers. This cooperative involvement ensures that everything possible done to identify and eliminate or mitigate the health and safety hazards. And the legislative requirement is once we reach 20 or above, the committee must have at least 2 members. Traffic control involves directing vehicular and pedestrian traffic around a construction zone, accident, or other road disruption. This ensures the safety of ERTs, construction workers, and the public. All TCPs must be properly trained, have their ROTs available, have a traffic control plan completed before work starts, and have an escape route. All traffic control devices will be used as required. Spotters and signalers must communicate with the equipment operator using appropriate hand signals that they both will clearly understand. A review of the hand signals should take place between the operator and the signal spotter before starting work. And the designated signaler spotter must be in constant view of the operator and maintain eye contact. If eye contact is lost, the operator must stop immediately and only resume when the spotter is clearly visible. Closing remarks. The site will be very active inside as well as outside the site. It will be a very small footprint, and there will be heavy machinery, various tradespeople inside the barbed wire fence, as well as delivery trucks. You cannot take pictures or videos on site and post it on any social media. You will be disciplined accordingly. Always be aware of your surroundings, watch for cordon restricted areas, and be aware of all warning signs. Follow your work procedures, complete your documents, and stay safe. If you're not sure, please ask. If at any time you don't know or you're unsure about the rules or procedure, what to do, etc., find a supervisor and ask the question. It's always better choice to take the extra 2 minutes to ask and get the right answer than to find out the hard way. And thank you for listening.